Hello, my friends. Today I want to talk about the pick guard, the place on the wood soundboard that we actually try to protect it from the tip of the plectrum or risha uh, in order not to damage the soundboard after some years of playing. So we normally use some kind of a veneer, a wood veneer. So it's a thin layer of wood, and normally it's something between half a millimeter to 1 millimeter thickness. So it has some challenges to glue it on the soundboard, because most of these very thin layers most of the time are very wavy and they resist to be completely flat. So it makes our process a little bit tricky and hard to do. Especially here, I'm going to use this kind of walnut veneer that I found some years ago from some shop. I will take some photos from the closer look to you that this is super wavy. This is the I think this is the most challenging material that you can use on your pick guard. It's full of nuts, so the grains are all over the wood and all over this layer, and um, so it's kind of every time I want to work with it, it's just so tricky thing to work with. So I don't recommend to use it, but these are so beautiful. These comes with the different tones and colors from the different woods. This is from a walnut, but other woods may have this kind of veneer. So this is a half millimeter thickness of veneer. I already sanded the soundboard to 600 grit. I think that's enough for the soundboard for this case. So the soundboard sanding is finished. So I don't want to sand anymore later. Maybe just 100, 1000 or 1500 grit later. But before that, I can install this veneer. This thin layer of veneer, I cut it with the CNC laser. This wood is so fragile, super fragile. So I'm trying not to work with the hand. So I gave it to the CNC machine and cut it with the CNC. So I have this piece. This I lasered more for any kind of mistakes happens. So this is the pick guard that I want to glue on my soundboard right now. The first step is to flatten it as much as you can. So I'm going to use a piece of MDF on the table. I hope that you can see it well. The tools that we need is just an iron, a hot iron that most of us have in our home, but we need an iron that has a very, very low hot temperature. So we don't need this iron to boil the water, or when we splash the water on it, we should not see the water actually boiling fast and become steam, because this much of heat can easily damage your soundboard and the bracing underneath of your soundboard. So very, very first level, first volume of the heat, amount of heat we need, I will show you later, and we check it with the water. So first I'm going to make it flat as much as I can. I place it between two pieces of paper. Just first put some water on it. It becomes more wavy even, and then I start flatten it with the two pieces of paper. So this is too much for me here. I still can see some water stay on the iron. It's not becomes steam. It does not boil that much very fast, but still it is too much. So I will make it a little bit less. I must be, could easily touch it. Not too much touch, but even less could be good. Very nice. Okay. I spray some water on it and it becomes more loose and more wavy, as you see. So I make it wet with the water and wait until the water can go inside the wood, and then I place it here between two papers and I start iron it with not that much pressure. As you see, it becomes a very good and flat, but when I leave it, it again becomes more wavy. So I continue the process until see the wood is completely dry. Okay, I can feel that it's almost dried. Perfect. Very good. So it's almost flattened and we can continue our work on it. So now my veneer is almost dry, actually completely dried and flat as much as I can get. So now I'm trying to sand it with 180 grit, both sides, just to have a completely flat and have no up and down on it. But you have to be very careful because it's so fragile. Okay, that's enough. Another side. Wonderful. So go for the 280. Okay. Go for the 400. That's enough. Go for 600. Okay, that's almost flat. I can feel it that it's very soft and good. So you can make it clean enough. So the one side, which is the top side, is completely flat up to 600. And the other side is 180, which I want to glue it on my soundboard. I just want to make a holder for myself in order to help me to hold the piece easily. I just use a paper tape just to hold it, and I want to assemble it on the wood. So let's talk about the glue that we need. Here I have a tight bond original glue. This is thick enough for me and sticky enough actually when I apply a very thin layer on the gluing side of the pick card to have a very good assembling on my wood. So you need a very thick sticky glue like the Tide Bond and any other glue. Also we need a very thin layer, so we don't want to use too much of the glue. So I start putting the glue on just be careful to have completely have glue at the edges, because it's so important to have these edges glued. Actually, most of the parts, but these are more even important. So I just apply a very thin layer of glue most of the parts, and because of the moisture that we got in the glue, you will see the veneer again become more wavy and hard to work with, but we can manage it with the hot iron later. So I slowly try to spread the glue all over on the veneer with my finger, just to be sure that every part is covered by a thin layer of glue. We have to use as less as we can of the glue. You don't need to see any glue goes out when we assemble it on the soundboard. So we need to be sure that we just have a very thin layer and we don't have any extra glue on it. But I think it's enough. So now I start carefully putting it on the soundboard. With a lot of careful, just from the center side. Okay, I think that's symmetrical. You can remove the paper. Just with the finger, just place the veneer, the layer on the soundboard. That's very good. And then the next step is with very low temperature and using the paper just to iron the veneer. Especially the edges. You have to be careful to have a complete assembly. Take your time. You see the iron is not hot, so I can easily touch it. But until I can hear the stickiness, the sticky sound, that some part is not completely installed and not completely glued, I continue my work to be sure that every edges in every corner of this veneer is completely glued to the soundboard perfectly. Okay, uh, the veneer is installed very good. I'm so satisfied with this assembling, this gluing right now. I can't feel any part unglued or any kind of any up and downs on this. I can later have the very finished sanding steps like 1000, 1500 to become completely glassy. Later also these edges need to sand it with the sandpaper to have some kind of curve and not sharp edges later. But for now, veneer is completely installed, and I can show you from the closer look. Okay, as you see, the veneer is completely installed here without any problem. The completely flat, very good gluing, and that's it. So have a good time.